Thank goodness he seems to be okay and came out of it. You know, the funny thing is, I think the ball hit him pretty solidly, but it didn't hit him absolutely squarely, where the ball just boom boom and went down. When you look at it, the replay of it from a side, it hit him, and the angle of the ball reflected. It redirected its direction. Is that is it
Redirected?
I said redirected.
Yeah, I think you
Its
did.
direction. Is that like using the same word twice in one sentence?
Redirected itself.
Yeah, it redirected. All right, it redirected itself. So obviously, it wasn't just a lancing blow. It hit him, and it redirected itself. But fortunately, it just didn't hit him, straight on. So we dodged a bullet literally there. That could have been a very serious thing. So I'm happy about that. Easton Mcmurray had season-ending surgery this morning, so he's out for the year. He basically had the same surgery that A.J. Labus had. He had a scope on his shoulder. Easton didn't pitch at all his senior year in high school. This is not an injury that he suffered when he was here at LSU. He didn't pitch at all in high school and didn't pitch at all here in the fall. Maybe once in the fall, once in the spring, in hopes of him trying to come back. But obviously, after he had made a verbal commitment to us in high school, he was injured after that. But we stuck by our commitment. He stuck by his commitment, and it's just much like Nick Storrs. They were injured in high school. We stuck by him. They got here, and it didn't work, and they ended up having to have surgery. So we're disappointed to lose our only left-hander off of our staff. But hopefully he'll make a good recovery and be back, help us next year. Chase Costello had a really strange thing happen to him after he pitched this weekend. He felt fine when he was pitching, but after he pitched, he started to experience some soreness, and it was a kind of a strange soreness. And so our trainer, our medical staff, everybody was a little bit perplexed at first by it. So we feared the worst. We actually rushed him to the hospital that night for fear that perhaps it could have been a blood clot or something like that. But that all the tests proved well there. So it's still a rather unique injury. It'll keep him out this weekend, but it could have been. We worked our way down the list of possibilities, and where we are now is that it looks like it's going to be a short-term thing, but he'll be out this weekend. And Mikhail Hilliard will continue to be out this weekend. He had a procedure done earlier in this week, and hopefully it was a pretty non-invasive procedure, and hopefully it'll help him recover. And we'll see. He's actually going to start throwing today. He won't be available this weekend either, but hopefully next week he'll start to make some serious progress.
Chase back, leg, shoulder?
No, it was in his arm. Can't really even tell you exactly where in his arm. I'm not hiding it from you. I'm just telling you it's a strange thing. Had to do with blood flow. Let's just put it that way.
You touched on Josh's scare there. But I'm sure you heard what Todd said as well. How fired him up. Is there a tightness to this team?
Yeah, well, Todd's a pretty emotional kid. I don't have 1 ounce of belief that their kid did it on purpose. Not one. He and their coach and their catcher were very concerned. I kind of had to reassure their coach and their players that he was okay, and it made them feel better. So there was no intent whatsoever, But when one of your close friends, looks like he's hurt bad, it bothered you. You're not mad at the other team. You're just upset. And Todd's a very emotional guy, and he's a leader. And I think our team feeds off his emotion some. And, Todd, he's a young kid, and he doesn't exactly know how to use his words, to define exactly how he feels. Or maybe he does, and he should be a little bit more, subdued. But he is who he is. That's who Todd is. He's not trying to show off. He's not mad at anybody. He just, wants everybody on the team to know that he's got their back and that he'd do anything for them. So that's a good thing.
Despite the youth movement that you have going on, is there an unusual closeness with this group?
You know, everybody's been talking about the chemistry of this team for a long time. You know, I'm not with them off the field, so I don't know how they hang out together, who's really great friends with each other, all that kind of stuff. I just keep hearing very positive things about the makeup of the team. Now, chemistry gets put to a test when you have some challenging moments. And there will be some challenging times during the season. I don't care if you're the number one team or not in the country. You're going to lose some games. You're going to have some adversity strike. And that's usually the true test of chemistry. And, if when those moments happen, we continue to stick together and pull for each other and don't pull apart at the seams, then you've got something special.
What do you want to see from Hess after a pretty rocky debut?
Oh man, James, you know what I want to see? I want to see him go out there and, throw all three pitches for strikes with command, with confidence. I want to see him work fast, throw strikes, and, you know, uh, you just I hate to use words like dominate because this would be a very difficult team to dominate. They're really a good hitting team, but he needs to show that he can throw more than one pitch with confidence. Let's put it that way. And I think he will. We've seen him do it before, and he's worked hard this week. He thinks he found something mechanical in his delivery that they'd worked on, and he felt that the results were better. And so let's hope that the results are a lot better tomorrow night.
You mentioned a little bit in January, but how difficult will it be not having any left-handed pitchers this year?
Well, if given a choice, I wish we did have some. I'm not going to lie about that, Brody. I give quite a bit of freedom to Allen to recruit the pitchers that he wants, and Nolan, of course. They work at it hard, and they just keep coming to me with the best pitchers they see are right-handed. I'd much prefer them to have a quality right-hander than a mediocre left-hander. Let's just put it that way. We've had some mediocre left-handers in the last few years, and it really hasn't helped us that much. So, obviously it would be great to find some real quality lefties. And we thought we had one in Easton Mcmurray. Unfortunately, he's injured and now won't be able to help us. And I'm sure there's going to be a time during the course of the season where it's going to bite us. I hope it's not a drastic shooting, if you know what I mean. But I do think we have some pitchers whose repertoires that are conducive to being able to get left-handed pitchers out, and I think there's some right-handers that we have that struggle against left-handers. So that's why it's not the perfect situation. I wish we had 3 or 4 lefties I could count on, but it's not the situation. So we have to go with what we have and do the best we can.
What you doing at first base this weekend? Same as last first base?
Beloso will start tomorrow night, and then we'll see after that.
How about Brock? Just what a dynamite guy. He's been back there so far for you, really.
Yeah, he's such a leader. What an awesome kid he is. He's like the Todd Peterson of the position players. Very emotional, very into his team. He's going to do whatever it takes to help his team win, and he's just a wonderful young man to have on the team. He loves to play. He wants to contribute in any way he can. And it's a rare occasion, Mike, when you find a catcher that is so into what the pitchers do. He takes it personal if a pitcher doesn't pitch well. So it's like he and the pitcher in the foxhole together, and he's going to do whatever he can do to help that pitcher make it through. And he puts his hitting on the shelf when he's behind the plate, and when he's at the plate, he's doing the best he can as a hitter. But if he fails in an at bat, he's not going to carry his bat out to his defense with him, and that's what you want out of your catcher.
He's been good receiving the ball. It seems like
he's been outstanding receiving, blocking, receiving the ball, just in everything. We thought he threw out a guy the other day, and then they reversed the call, but. Sometimes our pitchers are a little slow to the plate, and it doesn't help him. All he can do is do the best he can, and if he throws a 2-0 to second base and it's accurate, that's the best he can do. You know what I mean? If the pitcher's delivering the ball too slow for him to be able to throw him out, then that's nothing that Brock can do about that. He's doing the best that he can. I think he's doing really more than a credible job.
What do you know about this Bryant team?
Yeah. This is a scary thing about playing teams like Bryant. Our local fans have never heard of him. They don't even probably know where they're located. I do. They're from Smithtown, Rhode Island. Okay, they were in the regional here in 2012. We did not play them. They played Euston, and Euston eked out a 10-inning one-run win against them. Then they played Southeastern, and Southeastern eked out a 10-inning one-run win against them. Need I utter those terrible words of Stony Brook? Okay, but the reality is that there are teams in college baseball that a lot of really good baseball fans have never heard of, and yet they're really a talented team. And this Bryant team, I think, can be put into that category. They just went to Abilene Christian this past weekend. They won 2 out of 3. The one game that they lost, they had a 6-4 lead, and going into the bottom of the 8th inning. They won the last game, I think, 10-1 or 11-1. Their pitcher and their hitter were their conference players of the week. They have 8 of 9 players returning from last year's starting lineup. They had a freshman last year, Ward, that was their conference player of the year as a freshman. Their Sunday starter has won about 30 games in his career. He's a crafty left-hander. I don't know. I could go on and on and on. Okay, their freshman was the player of the week in the conference. They're the only guy that's not returning to their lineup. So I told our players, you can forget about what the name is across their chest. Take their jerseys off and write Texas A&M. Take their jerseys off and write, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, put whatever name you want on there, because this is a very, very physical hitting team. They don't go up there trying to hit singles. They're up there trying to hit doubles and home runs. They got very much a quality starting rotation, a righty and then 2 lefties. And we're going to have to play our very best to have a chance to beat these guys.
How did you address Bill's upcoming surgery with the team?
I talked to them about it about a month ago. And I know a lot of them wished Bill well when they saw him Sunday. And I think our players, are very concerned, because Bill's a very big part of our program, a big part of our team. And, everybody's praying for him. And I know tomorrow, my thoughts will be with him. He's one of my best friends. He's been the greatest, person to work with you could imagine for 13 years. I love him. I love his whole family. I'm very proud of him. He's been very transparent about his illness, in the hopes that maybe it'll scare somebody else into going to get themselves checked. And then in the meantime, that'll save somebody else's life, which I think is very typical of Bill, to be thinking about others before himself. So, we're just going to keep him in our prayers. We're going to believe that the surgery is going to be successful, and that before you know it, he'll be back out at the box and, all healed up.
You and Karen have been advocates of group screenings.
Well,
and obviously, this is just another hit-home situation.
I've learned a lot about prostate cancer, Mike. I've actually had 3 biopsies myself. There were 3 different times where the doctors thought I had prostate cancer. But I'm 3-0 against cancer. When I had the biopsies, which are not a lot of fun, but the pathology tests proved negative in my 3 cases. I just have a very enlarged prostate, but it's benign. But that's very rare. If you get checked early enough for prostate cancer, as long as it hasn't broken through the membrane and gotten into your system, it's a very curable thing. And we believe that's what's happened with Bill Franquez. He's in his early 50s. They found out that he's got it. It's contained. And that's what we believe. Hopefully that'll be what shows when they go in there. And you have the surgery, and you live a very normal life for the rest of your life, and hopefully a long life. But if you're defiant, it gets out of the prostate, it gets into your bloodstream, and it's a death sentence. So, when you hear stories about Bill and others that have done it, and that have gotten checked, that get tested, and then have the surgery, you can't be afraid of that. You've just got to face it head on and deal with the realities of life. Whether it's colon checks, whether it's prostate checks, whether it's breast checks, whatever. The state of medicine now is such that it can save your life if you're willing to go get yourself checked.
trajectory was the word you probably were looking for. Change the trajectory.
No, I said the word I was looking for was what I used. I just didn't know how to put the sentence to sentence. I
like the
used,
double use of direct.
yeah, I didn't want the double use of direct in one
All
sentence.
those words. I know.
That's what happens when you have a. That's what happens when you have a son that's a writer.
Writer, yeah.
Anybody else?